Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Got Dreams. I'm so thrilled today. We've got an amazing stream for you. I'm really excited for you to have the opportunity to get into this gentleman's head. You've been following him for quite a while, and he's somebody that has inspired me, has inspired many other people. For those of you who don't know, and you're new to Ted McGrath, he's created 5 household brands, made millions teaching coaches, speakers, and service-based business owners how to turn their lives, how to turn their story, how to turn their message into millions. Ladies and gentlemen, Ted McGrath. Ted, how are you today?
I'm good, man. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's great to see you. So, Ted, I really want to kind of dive in here. We're gonna be taking questions from folks who are watching. We're gonna be digging deep into their stories. But first of all, I'd love to hear a little bit about your story. What got you started? What got you passionate about helping other people take their passions, take their interests, take their skills, and make a living online?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give the condensed version, and people can ask some questions. I've made a career out of telling story, but basically, from a young age, I think I was searching like everybody else, and when I graduated college, I didn't have anything better to do. My old man, he just didn't. His business wasn't doing well. I thought I was going to go into business with him, and then I just kind of fell into the insurance business by default. Started with a company called New York Life. In fact, I walked off the elevator going to the interview. I was so desperate for interviews, but I also am a creative writer. I like to write. So I got off the elevator thinking New York Life. I was thinking Life magazine or something of that nature, like magazine. And I walk off the elevator and I walk in, and the lady at the counter looks at me and she's like, sweetheart, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, I'm here for an interview. And I'm looking up on the wall and it says insurance company. And I'm like, is this a magazine? And she's like, no. This is an insurance company. And I said, well, I have the address right here. My name's Ted McGrath. And she's like, yeah, we have an interview for you. This is a life insurance company. She's like, do you still want to do the interview? I'm like, sure. Right? So I go in and I sit down in the interview, and my partner at the time, or my boss, almost to be boss at the time, was like, so who is Ted McGrath? That was his first question. And I think that question kind of defined my career, I never really had somebody that interested in me before. And we sat down and we talked for hours upon hours upon hours. And at the end, I was like, okay, I canceled all my other interviews. I'm coming to work here, and he was like, well, you're not hired yet. And I said, what do you mean I'm not hired? And he says, well, 1, you're young, you don't know anybody. So how are you going to get clients? He says, 2, you failed the personality test. I'm like, how the hell do you fill a personality profile test, man? How do you fuck that up, right? That was the first thing I was thinking, And so he's like, I'm like, well, what do I need to do to get a job here? I was like, I want to come work with you, and I wanted to come for the relationship. And he says, you need to go out and do 45 market surveys, If you want to get a job here, you have 2 weeks to do it. So you go survey people. So I went out. I didn't know anybody, but I went to the bar, and my dad was there, and I pulled all his friends into a booth one after the next. And people I didn't know, I just grabbed strangers. Hey, do a survey with me. I came back 24 hours later with 45 surveys, got hired in the company. And he was like, I bought into the vision because he's like, man, you can go do 6 figures your first year in this business. And it was like some number of $250,000 that he painted. And I really believed him. So I put my head down and I chased the money because I thought money would make me happy. And, of course, as the story goes, for those of you know, crack 6 figures. And that night at 4 a.m, I'm on the floor. I got, two pills of ecstasy in me, a bag of cocaine, 15 drinks of alcohol, and my soul's coming out of my body and I'm dying, And I wake up the next morning and I was like, well, money wasn't the answer.
That's all it took, huh?
Yeah. So that kind of answers your question of how did I get to doing this? I was searching for something better, and I made money at a young age. And so I don't know, so, I mean, here I am today, and I searched and searched and searched. I don't need to get into the whole story because a lot of people know it, but that's what happened. And eventually I had those questions that everybody has, is this all there is to my life?
Right.
And, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And that led me to going, hey, I have something to share. I have a voice. I have a message. I have a story. I want to tell my story. And, I got up on stages and I started telling these stories. And that was the kind of creation of my career, because it was never really for me about, delivering content was the essential piece, but telling stories I found really connected with people. And I liked the reaction that people had and the response that people had and how they had realizations about their life. And then from there, I went and turned my life story into a one-man play, because to me it was natural. It's like, I'm telling story on stage. It really helps people. people come tell me all these realizations. The more honest I am, the more people come and have these bigger realizations. So I said I should just make a performance out of it and be honest about my life. And that's what I did. And it kind of led me on this path to really want to help people. So here I am.
It's so difficult too. I mean, being vulnerable, being honest, putting yourself out there is always a challenge for folks. And I find that, your story is very inspirational in that you kind of stepped into that. You didn't always mean to go there. You kind of were led there after you were chasing the money. I think it's very difficult for folks because you need to have money in order to do the things that you love, but money is not going to make you ultimately happy. So you have to find this interesting balance between the two. And that's what I find so fascinating about what you've created with Got Dreams, A Message to Millions, is you're looking to help people take that skill or that passion or that idea or that dream or that thing that's burning up inside of them and figure out a way to actually make money doing it. Can you kind of give us a little bit of the backstory there, or kind of the inspiration, or what you've seen from people who are doing this now?
Yeah, I think here's the thing. You have to have different sources of passions, I think that's my thing, right? And from that, you get different sources of income. And, how do you make money? That's a good question. Like, people always want to make money doing something that they love. It's a really good question. Hey, Francis, I just wanted to say hi. Hey, Gweer. Hey, I just saw Ann said hi before. Money is a tool, a big tool. Here's kind of the way that I look at it, right? You're not going to know what money's like until you make it.
Right.
So go make it, because everybody has an idea of what it is. But really, people have beliefs about money, and they have beliefs about money when they don't have it. So get the money and have it, and then have some belief about it. But to have a belief that money's not good, or money's for charlatans, or money's for salespeople only, or selling people is bad, people have that belief sometimes,
Well, I was raised Catholic, and my mom taught me since a young age that money is the root of all evil. And that did a number on me. It took me years to get over that and to kind of move past that and to reassess how I felt about money. And now I enjoy spending money. Yeah. When I build my studio, it makes me feel good because it's something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good point, right? So I think, I grew up and I saw my dad's business go under a few times. And so that had an impact. I was like, oh, wow. So I was kind of I need to make money. I never want to be in that position.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes the money's not the goal, right? So that's the thing that people need to get. It's not the goal. It's a byproduct of work well done for others. And I think it's important to know, right? So there's something work well done for others that you do, and money becomes the byproduct of it. So, what are the factors of that? What stops somebody from making money? Communication. I mean, you have to be willing to communicate and say, hey, I want to exchange this thing or give this thing to you. And if I give this thing to you, you give me something back. Right. That goes back all the way to the days of hey, I've got some spice. I want to trade it for your salt, or whatever they did back then. Or I've got some gold. I want to trade it for your sheep, or whatever, This goes all the way back. People were doing deals all the time. Now you see people doing deals today, and people are like, oh, deals are bad. I'm like, that's how people survived years ago, right? Somehow they've equated deals and money as bad sometimes. Right. Not everybody. But, to live back then, you had to trade your sheep for something else, man. So I think today you got to choose what you want to trade in, because that decides the passion, right? So first you got to choose what you want to trade in, and you got to believe the product. But second, you also got to find the activities and things that you love. I have a coach that I always give credit to on this, Dan Sullivan, who coached me when I was 21 years old. And he was really good at that. He said, everybody's got a unique talent and unique ability. And he said something like, a unique ability is an interesting thing. He says it's kind of like a fish in water. He says a fish is swimming around in water, and water's so miraculous that without the water, the fish can't live. But the fish doesn't realize how miraculous it is.
Right.
Because it swims with it every day. So it takes water for granted. But without water, it dies. Can't live. And an entrepreneur is very similar. You have gifts that you walk around with, and it's like water, just there with you. You don't even pay attention to it. It's like oxygen to us, right? You just walk around with it and you just do it naturally. It's kind of like breathing. You just kind of give it. And you don't realize that you do it all the time, but you can actually get paid for that thing. And so if you built a life around doing the things that you love, now this is me saying it, but if you built a life around doing the things that you love, and doing the work of what it takes to get there, because it doesn't start out that way, right? It's I only want to do what I love. Okay, good. But like, even if you're a professional athlete and you don't know how to manage your money, you're going to go bankrupt. So you can't just be great at basketball. You actually have to be good at finances too.
Right.
Right. If you're a star, and you're, let's say, you're a singer and you're great at that, well, you actually have to know how to communicate with people and manage your finances and still run the team around you, because you're actually the CEO of that organization where you're a singer in. And most of them don't think of it that way. So like today, you can't just be like, I want to do what I'm passionate about. You got to say, I want to do what I'm passionate about. And then you got to build up the skills around that to support the passion.
Right.
And a lot of people don't get that.
No, and I think that's so important, because being financially literate, and one of the books that changed my life, and so I had this really bad belief and energetic relationship with money. It was really bad, and it wasn't until I read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and that book changed my life. It taught me how to be the CEO of my life, not just my business, my life, and that was the thing that shifted that mentality for me, because I knew I had to be a business owner if I wanted to, be wealthy or make money or live my dreams.
That's right. Yeah, Kiyosaki's good. I like him. He's on the cryptocurrency bandwagon. He has been for a little while now. I like Kiyosaki. He's cool. He's a trendsetter. But to your point, it's an interesting thing. So back to like, how do you make money with your passion? You got to decide. You got to make a decision and go like, this is the path I'm going. And you burn the boat. There's no going back to this place. And right. That's the thing that people don't do, because they don't have confidence that they can burn the boat and go do the thing. But anything I've ever done, I burn the boat, man. And I go. And that's it.
Why is that helpful, Ted? Why is it helpful to burn the boat?
Because there's no plan B. Like, plan A is what I want. So why would I settle for plan B when it's not what I want?
Right.
So if you're really convicted as to what you want, and this is why I always tell my sales coaches, like, enrolling somebody and giving somebody an enrollment conversation, where you find out what's important to them. It's probably one of the best things you can do for somebody. Right. It's one of the best things you can do, because you help somebody get clarity on what they want. Now, so many people are walking around today not knowing what they want, or they have goals of somebody else that they took on. Or they took on, considerations of somebody else. They're like, okay, I'm doing this thing because dad wanted me to do it. I'm doing this thing because somebody suggested it to me. But the question is, what do you really want? Decide on it, and then burn the boat to get there. So it means, like, it doesn't mean that like you blow up your life. It means, let's say you're doing this now. Well, I'm going here because that's what I want. This is not fully what I want. So I got to build a bridge to go over here, but I'm never going back to the thing that I'm building a bridge all the way out here. Why would I spend all this time building a bridge, get halfway there, and then go back? That makes no sense. Right. And people do it all the time. And what's behind that is, one, it's confidence, right? So people don't have the confidence sometimes to do this. Not everybody, but I'm speaking in my observation of doing this with thousands upon thousands of people. It's confidence. Number two, you get confidence by doing things. You don't get confidence by thinking about things. So like, I don't have the confidence, I don't have the belief. And then people around them go, hey, you're not good enough, or you can't do this thing. Well, no shit, right? I haven't gone out and gotten the wins yet. So of course I'm not good at it yet, right? Because I haven't done it. So if somebody's sitting here going, well, you're not good at it. Well, I haven't done anything yet. How could you say I'm not good at it? Right? So it gives people an opportunity around you to go do the thing. And then there's a learning curve as you go do. You run into a wall, you bounce back, you go, oh, what did I do wrong? Let me correct this. What did I do right? Let me focus on that. And then you just correct things along the way. And pretty soon you're like, wow, I have some victories. And once you start tasting the victories, you have some wins. And then, you'll probably hit some other stop, and you just got to be prepared for the stops. And you have one choice or two choices. You either run through the goddamn wall, or you run around the wall, or you could go over. That's three choices, but you don't let the wall stop you. And as an entrepreneur, you got to have that mindset, my mentor put a quote on my desk years ago. I never forgot it. I don't think it's totally true at all, but it said, starting a business is rarely a dignified affair. Well, and it was funny when I got it, and I looked at that and I said, but can it be? Can it be like somebody, you go in with your respect of like, I'm going to accomplish this. You only lose your dignity and respect if you don't stay the course. And so you just got to stay the course. And, it's kind of like you watch the movies, the hero's journey, right? At some point you're going to hit the pit and think about giving up. That's when you're halfway across the bridge. But that's when you got to persevere and search to have the breakthrough and like come out the hero.
I think that's such an important point because I think a lot of people, they're stuck in imposter syndrome. They're stuck in lack of confidence. But this idea of thinking, trying to think your way through fear is just not, it doesn't work. Stepping out and taking the action, that's going to, even if you fail, even if you fall off the bridge, even if you have to walk back to the beginning and get back on and walk again, at least you have that little bit of experience, and that experience gives you something of value that you can then take another step and another step and another step. I think that's so important. What would you say to people who are right now, who are listening to this, who are listening to the stream? Maybe they haven't even commented, they're just watching, but they're afraid of being that imposter. They're afraid of failing. They're afraid of doing the thing and other people saying, you can't do that or you're not good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say take stock of your skill sets right now because you've developed skills over the course of your life. So, like, you want to get real on what's real. Like, look at the data, right? Hey, I've developed this over my life. I've done this over my life, right? So it's like you have skill sets. And so for those of you who want to go share a message or you want to go share your knowledge and expertise, which a lot of our listeners do, and you want to get paid for it, that's such a great way. And it's such an undervalued thing. How many people in industries are out there trading time for dollars all the time,
Right.
And they think that they're making it, and underneath their belts, right, hidden is all this knowledge and life experience that they have that they could have another source of income teaching that. And so it's like people get stuck in this one mode of one source of income going after the thing that I want to do, which is totally cool. You can go after the thing that you want to do. But sometimes you find yourself trading so much time to get those dollars and sacrifice so much to get those dollars that even if you love it, it's cool, right? But isn't there a better way? You got to ask yourself that question. And even if you love the thing that you're doing, shouldn't you find another source of income as well?
Right.
Make some additional money so that you don't have the money pressures and you can focus on doing the thing you love without the money pressures. Because money pressures suck. But here's the other thing with money pressures. Like, they don't change, no matter how big you get, right? So it's like, you all of a sudden you make, I'm thinking at the end of the year or the end of next year, when certain of my investments hit it big, some of them hit it big already. Okay, then what do? Do I sell? Do I hold on? You have a whole nother set of things to think about and a whole nother set of pressures to play with. And then you're playing do I have right tax strategies? You're always going to have things going on in that area. And when people are brand new, they're like, oh, I got the money pressures. I got the money pressures. Well, if you're playing a big game, you're always going to have some pressure associated with that. And if you don't have some pressure, it means you're not testing your potential against the world. So
right.
Get used to the pressure, And
be okay with that. Be okay with that pressure. I think that's incredibly important. You brought up something else too, which I think is really important. A lot of folks have blinders on. Like, people will come to them and say, hey, like, that thing you did, that's really cool, or that's really good. And they'll be like, oh, that was nothing. That was easy. And it's like, those are the little moments in life, I think, that a lot of people don't really take seriously, because you're you all the time. You go to bed, you wake up, you're walking around, and you're always you. And what you don't know is what other people see. And a lot of times people will see some really impressive skills or some great things that you do. Those are the moments where you got to wake up and be like, wow, maybe that is something that I have that is special to me, that I can take into the world and do something better with. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely, man. You hit it spot on. Like, you have, like, people, you get compliments, I get compliments, other people, you compliment other people, and you really sincerely mean it. And somebody just doesn't receive it. They just brush it off. Like, really, you think so? You really think so? And somebody's observing that in you, So it's almost like you could ask your clients and go, hey, tell me all the things you think about me, and get feedback from your clients. I'm going back to Dan on this because he was so good, Dan Sullivan, on this. He says, in one column, write down the products you sell, and you write down the products. And he says, in the other column, write down the experiences you create. And people are like, well, what are the experiences? And he says, experiences are all the reason people buy, and so they have something, or some reason they're drawn to you, or they buy. It was funny. I was talking to a client this afternoon. She was really sweet and nice. And I was talking to her on the phone. I was trying to encourage her on something, and she's doing really great. And started off and has done really well selling her knowledge and her experience. And she said something to me. She's, thank you for calling. She's like, I've worked with a lot of celebrities and stuff, but I don't often get starstruck. And I'm kind of starstruck when I talk to you, And it was a nice comment, right? It was like somebody's giving me this experience that they're having with me, right? Of like what it's like to be around me. And I take stock of that. I'm like, yeah, I take that as a quality that I have, right? I have a presence. So when somebody says that, you got to take quality of, okay, why are people really doing business with you? What are they actually buying?
Right.
To say they're buying the experience, and that's all the things in your in the column that the clients say about you, the good things, right? And they're saying all these things about you. Maybe they tell other people about you, but you haven't packaged that into what you do. And here you are, you're trading the commodity, right? You're trading the thing like that everybody's hiring you for, and you're trading that, or you're trading the service, or you're trading the product. And people will pay so much for that, but they'll pay a lot for the experience, which is all the qualities and all the things that you have, which is why they want to bring you on board. If you really took stock of that for anybody, anything that you do, a coach, not just like the material you're delivering, an actor or an actress, like they're what the quality of what people are actually buying. And they really understood that, like you could bring that to every interaction that you have and make sure that you're bringing out that quality. You could do it in anything. An athlete could do it, right? It's not just what they do on the court. It's how likable they are off the court that determine their endorsements and all those things as well. So there's a lot of things like, on the court is, I'm not going to say it's the commodity, but that's what they do every day. But the endorsement money that they get is huge. It's based on the quality, their presentation, how they are to the outside world. So showing that and being aware of that, particularly as a consultant or a service business or somebody who's actually kind of buying you, because essentially they're buying you a lot of the time, right? And that's all the qualities that you have to offer the world. And if you looked at that, that's one of the keys to higher pricing, is to look at what is that experience that people are getting when they actually enroll in a product or service or program that you're offering up.
Right. And I would recommend to folks, like if you're kind of in this beginning stage of figuring out how to package your message, package your skill set, what sort of services you're going to offer, what sort of products you'd like to create, really take a moment. And, when we're off this live stream, take a serious moment. Even for those of you who said you're stuck or you're feeling an imposter syndrome, take a notepad and write down, what are the skills I have? What are the things that you're doing at work right now? What are the skills that you have? What are the things that people tell you about yourself that are maybe different or interesting or stand out? And make a list of those things and really take stock, because I think a lot of people, again, we all have blinders on and we're not taking enough stock of the things that we already possess that we could package and sell. We just don't know how to package and sell them. Ted, give us an idea, like where could people start after they take that personal inventory and that professional inventory? Where would you recommend they go to start packaging that or developing their message?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think the first thing is to realize that we're coming out like gunslinging, that this applies to so many people across the world. First off, so that's important to know. A lot of times people think, well, I'm not a coach. We're not going after the coaches. We're going after the people. And if you're a coach, cool, you already have knowledge and life experience. But we're not going after, that just industry, right? We're going after the people who have knowledge and skill set, which is people in industries all over the world, right? So think about it. I mean, there's so many people today that have knowledge in a particular craft that are useful. You could have knowledge in real estate. You could have knowledge in finance. You could have knowledge in music. You could have knowledge in acting. You could have knowledge in writing. You could have knowledge in directing. That's why we created God Dreams, the business, because there's so much knowledge out there. And, people helping people, it sounds like cliche, like it's been said all the time before, but it's people helping people. Now, this is the kind of the movement behind it. It's like everybody's got their head down, not everybody, but most people have their head down so much and they're working for the buck, right? And here's my thing. Here's my little sermon here, right? You're in the industry, right? The industry was created by somebody, right? Somebody at the top of the industry, right? Who's been around, been controlling it to some degree, right? And so it's designed in certain industries to where, like, you ever hear golden handcuffs in corporate America? Like, they give you just enough money. They strap you in with like, hey, you have to be 7 years here to vest in your stock, right? So they golden handcuff you to stay. Now, if somebody's reason cuffing you to stay is for the money, then they have nothing else to offer other than the money, right? And I'm not saying that it's not a great company or whatever, but if they have to cuff you with the money, then you're not really staying because you love it, right? And so something's going on in the industry that's not right. That's just my perspective of it, right? Now, obviously, you don't want somebody to take your stock and leave. I get all that. But we got to start cuffing people and with like freedom, right? And that sounds like, that sounds really bad. But it's like, okay, take the handcuffs off and wraps freedom around you, right? And go, well, what if I created a new industry myself? Entirely new industry, right? And I got out from under it, because if you look in so many of the different industries out there, people are struggling. The financial industry, I watched it, man. Like even the top people, they're making a couple mil, but like they're paying for expenses that they got, and they're driving the fancy cars, and they're entertaining all the clients, and they're doing all these things. And by the end of the day, they're overloaded, they're stressed out, and it's just such a small percentage that actually thrives in that industry. And then you got the rest who are successful, who are really successful, are making like 400 grand, but they ain't living on that. By the time they put on the show and their Armani suits, trust me, and the Mercedes and the houses, they ain't living on that. They're financial planners that don't have money. And so then you look at other industries and you go, okay, the top percent, the 0.00 something percent, actually like they make it in that industry, and then they dictate the rules in the industry. But everybody else in there, they're trying to make a buck and keep up. And they're exhausted and they're tired and they're spent. So I'm like, well, what are you doing chasing, trying to get to the top of the industry when you possess knowledge, life experience, and wisdom, and you should just package it? And even if you're trying to get the top of that industry over there, well, at least take your knowledge and life experience and start packaging and selling it to people, because you're helping them. So if you're the top like athlete in the world, like Tom Brady, does Tom need to do this? No. But if he packaged up like, what it goes in to be a champion athlete, right? And he packaged up like his routines every day, and he packaged up like, his work ethic and his discipline, and he sold that, everybody would buy it.
I mean, yeah.
And wouldn't the world want to know that? And wouldn't the world of athletics be a much better place if he did that into a program and all the kids doing that, where I do this, and this, and that? Because otherwise they're getting marketed stuff from the NFL, and who knows if it's even, well, I'm not going to say that. They're marketing something from some league, right? And who knows if some of the things that are even being marketed or sent down of what you need to do to be successful is actually true.
Right.
But if you saw the person get there who actually did it and is the athlete, and they're teaching it rather than some institution, that what they're teaching is true because they actually have the results. And if we had more people doing that, and now you're thinking, well, I don't have the results of Tom Brady, either do I, right? But you have results where if you're ahead of your clients and you have knowledge and expertise that's way ahead of your clients, and you're 10, 15 steps ahead, you're just teaching them grade 1 and grade 2 and grade 3. Right. So really, if you look at an industry you've been in for 10 years, say sales, you have knowledge to teach sales. If you've been in marketing for 10 years, you have knowledge to speak and teach marketing. If you've been an athlete for 15 years professionally, you have knowledge to teach that. If you've been a coach, even at whatever level, where you're coaching kids in athletics, you could teach a whole bunch of coaches how to be a great coach.
If you've been in hospitality, if you've been a chef, if you've been a server, if you've been, all of these things have value. All of these things are, this is a great comment here from Francis. I just wanted to share it with you, Ted. Said 2 days ago, 3 clients told me back to back, "Doctor, you're awesome. Without you, I would not be here. You saved my life. Why don't I see that person they're talking about? Is this the lack of confidence?"
Well, I'm not going to say what that is for you or not. You can decide. Here's my life experience around stuff like that. Is for me, somebody says that, and I'm like, yeah, okay, well, great. And I just do it all the time. Like Michael was saying, just great. You were so amazing. No, thank you. But the things I'm amazing at, I just do, Right. And so I don't it's not, you could say, I'm not sitting here lacking confidence about it, but I'm not taking stock of it and going, that was so amazing. I'm just like, yeah, I just did that thing. Right. And so I should stop and go, wow, man, I did that thing and it was amazing. But I just go, that's just what I do. I get up and I talk and I do this thing, or I get up and present, or I get up and I do a performance, whatever. I do my thing. It's my thing. So I think you just need to stop for a sec and maybe ask them a question. I would go, what was so amazing that I did for you?
That's really great point. Get the specifics.
Get the specifics. What was amazing? What was so amazing that I did for you? And then write it down. What else was amazing? And then all of a sudden you start to see that people they're buying the relationship, right? They're buying the relationship to a huge degree. Now you're delivering a service with that, but you couldn't have Joe Schmo delivering that same service who doesn't have the knowledge, doesn't have the expertise, doesn't have the beingness and the qualities that you have, because everybody's got their own unique quality. And until you start taking stock of that, inventory of that, it's going to be hard to create the thing of your dreams, because you have to really figure out what it is that people are buying into.
Right. We have another question here. Stan asks, how do you sell your present skills developed over 47 years of business and 10 years of education to another non-related business?
So your present skills, so what skills in particular, developed over 47 years of business and 10 years of education to another non-related business? Well, yeah. So, do your present skills apply to that business is my question, right? I'm sure there's a way that your present skills developed over 47 years of business cross over to some other business.
I'm sure there's a ton. So, and that's exactly the point. You gotta get specific on this stuff. You gotta
Right.
do the inventory exercise.
Yeah, to Stan's question, like write down all the skills that you developed over the last 47 years. Here's what I would literally do. I would go ask myself, I'm going to ask you, Stan, what did you do over 47 years and what life lessons did you develop? And you might go, God, I was so good at sales, right? I was good at leadership. I was good at inspiring people. I was good at, whatever. And you keep writing down these things and you're like, man, I was good at listening to people. I was good at, encouraging other people. There's so many things that you do that, and these things, like, how can you get paid to encourage other people? Can you? Well, yeah, you can. I mean, when I'm coaching people, I'm encouraging them all the time. In my life, I'm encouraging people. So I think, can you get paid to do that? Absolutely. That's a quality that looks like it's not a direct, tangible, tradable benefit as like sales skills I'll trade or like marketing skills I'll trade. But it is, because if you're delivering something to somebody and you can be really encouraging, they're going to want to show up and be encouraged. Like, nobody wants to work with a personal trainer who's not encouraging. Nobody wants to work with a coach on the football field who's not encouraging. Nobody wants to work with a business coach who's not encouraging and doesn't see possibility. Nobody wants that. That's called dry and boring. And people need a lot of time throughout the day when they're down. They need somebody to lift them up and be able to handle that. And if you have that quality, that's a huge quality. Huge quality.
Greer makes an excellent point. Stan, like a housewife, who know how to order, organize, understand who's walking the door, how to handle people, and much more. Like, this is the type of thing, like, people undervalue so many different jobs, so many different things that people do in everyday life that actually have tremendous value. And it's a matter of understanding that value. Ted was talking about this earlier. A business relationship is not about selling, right? It's about delivering value. It's about solving problems. So if you were in business 47 years, how many problems have you solved? And what were they? And what did you do to solve those problems? And if you start to craft that and understand and take that stock and begin to package your message in that, that's where it begins to change things for you. Francis says, makes sense. Ask questions.
Yeah, ask questions. Find out the truth. Observe for yourself. That's what it is. Like, if I ask questions and observe what's true. And then you go, oh, this is true about me. This is true about me. Somebody might say something, it might be whatever. They might say a comment about you. And that goes for positive and negative. Somebody says, oh, is that true for me? Is it true that I was that way? No, it's not true. It's not true. Right. So you just got to take that stuff in and go, okay, great. And you take stock of it and go, wow, this is great. This is great. This is great. And, and then you go out and you do have to solve a problem with it. You do have to solve a problem and go, okay, great. I'm solving a problem. But, with that, I'm also creating an opportunity in the world for people. And the more you focus on creating opportunity in the world, and you start selling people an opportunity, people want to get excited about opportunity. Everybody's so mirrored down and stuck in, God, I got this going on, or life's not good, or whatever. If you want to get like out of the stuckness of things, just go do something fun that's creative and focus on a big opportunity. And I'll show you how fast you get unstuck from that thing. Right? I was coming back today after kind of a little rough day on something, but I knew getting on here, right before getting on here, I got on my acting lesson for like 15 minutes and I just did this scene that was fun. And then I come on here and this is fun. So if you want to get like out of the funk, you got to choose things in your life, right, that will actually inspire you to bring you to the qualities you want to experience, right? So I do my acting lessons a couple times a week now, right? And I'm not doing a play right now. I'm getting ready to do my film coming up in the future, but I'm training for that. And so the one thing I would say is, like, you can have fun training for things. Like, if you are doing sales, so I try to impart this on my sales team, you need to train every day on it. And you need to practice it and you need to get good at it. If you want to speak, then you need to get on and do audiences, like do a show like this. And even if you have one listener, I used to show up to networking events. I kid you not. When I moved to California and I did a meetup group and 2 people showed up. And they showed up and I was doing like a speech and I spoke to 2 people because there were 2 people in the room and I spoke to 2 people and I sold something. And I remember how, like, it's you're there, there's 2 people. How mortifying can it be, right? But who cares, right? You're showing up. It's better than 0 people, right? So sometimes you go from a job where you're respected and you're like, and you have a name and you have all these things and you have this status. None of that means anything, guys. It means nothing, right? Because if you don't have the courage to take what got you the status and what got you to the place. If you don't have that and you can't take it and risk looking foolish and going into a new opportunity, and you don't got it. And that's just a reality. That's my point of view. Okay. Because if you have that ability to go do that and go do something new and try something, then you got the skill. Then you got the inherent thing of like, I'm going to go do this thing. But it takes chops. And too many times people get comfortable in an old skill set. Like I was in New York Life and I was in this position and I had partner status, but it didn't mean anything. And I'll tell you why it didn't mean anything. Because I didn't have the full-blown confidence in myself. I didn't trust myself yet that I could truly succeed in the world, even though I was making the money I was making. So I had to go to myself, you know what? You're gonna risk it all. You're gonna get your ass out of here. You've been complaining for too long, and you're gonna get your ass out of here and you're gonna show yourself what you can do against the real world. And I got out there and I beat my head against the wall. Day after day after day. I'll go to this event. I'll speak at this event. I'll go to events. I'll talk to people in the audience. Come to my seminar. Come to my seminar. Come to my seminar. I was hungry, man. And today, my observation of people is they lost the damn hunger, man. Where is it? You know, they sold the idea of today, it's to fix it. I'll pop a pill and I'll fix it. I'll launch the thing online and I'll fix it. Where's the hunger, man? You know, get back on the streets, pound the pavement, pick up the phone, talk to a person.
You got me goosebumps, bro.
You gotta get that hunger back in life. That's what the world needs today, right? They need a hunger because when you're interacting with people like we're doing right now and you're talking to people, it's real. But if you're trying to hide behind like, you know, I'm going to solve a problem with an overnight thing, or I'm going to, you know, I'm waiting for the big deal. God, I want to, you know, the people who are waiting for the big deal, I want to take you outside and I want to old yeller you. Okay. You know, old yeller where they shot the dog, right? I want to old yeller you. You know why? Because it's like the big deal, the big moment, right? You know, you're waiting for big momentitis, right? You know, there's that, whatever, there's a whole joke around that, but I'm not going to say it. But you're waiting for the big moment and you don't have to wait for the big moment. You got to work every day. And initially there's you at work and it requires a lot of energy. And I think sometimes people forgot that. They're like, where's the system that's going to help me? Where's the job that's going to pay me? No, it's you who creates the income. So there's you at work. That's the first thing. Then there's you with your relationships at work. And that's how it's built, period. And then so you start to do that and you start to exchange a product. Then there's systems at work. There's you, relationships, and systems at work. Then at that point, you start to actually figure it out. And then there's success every day at work because systems can help with that. Success every single day at work. And then you start to go, all the energy I put in, now the system is utilizing it and the system's producing the energy and the fuel to get it out there. And then one day there's money and you make money and you put money to work. And that's how you get wealthy. Right? So I think sometimes people forget the steps. They go, I want to put the system to work.
Right.
What about you at work, man? What are you doing? Right? What about you?
That's such a great point, man. I mean, that's exactly my story as well. I was stuck in the restaurant business. I went to college for a year, dropped out, went and hiked the Appalachian Trail, came back, became a server, worked my way all the way up to management, and I was stuck in the restaurant business. I was making decent money, but I just couldn't get out. So I was like, I need to do something I'm passionate about. So in 2014, I launched my first podcast. It was called Kick-Ass Dad. And because I had a passion for parenting, like being a dad was my favorite thing in the whole wide world. And then so I created a podcast about that. That blew up. And then I'm doing all this work on this podcast for free, making $0. Then I was like, what do I need to do? I need to learn how to market this. I need to learn how to make money doing this. So then I learned how to do webinars. I learned how to sell and I taught people how to do podcasts. And then that led into the next thing. And then I went into Facebook marketing. And then, then that led to the next podcast and into the big business. And all of it happened because I stepped outside of my comfort zone and I was in the garage, bro, like this, in the garage. Yeah. I was terrified my wife was going to walk out and hear me. And I'm in the microphone like this. And I'm just like, talking to the microphone. It was terrifying.
You're burning the boat, man. You're burning the boat. When I first built my business, I had like three people living in my house and a sister living in my house in like a 1,500 square foot condo. Nobody hears these stories, right? Literally like I had a couple 22, 23-year-old kids who were like marketing guys. I had this assistant who was living in the other room. And these three guys are living in the living room, right? And we're waking up every morning. The house is in foreclosure. No shit. The true story, man. And I'm sitting there going, how am I going to get through this? And I look back on those days. It's like, what are you willing to do? It's not like, you have to put in some type of sacrifice. I don't know if it's sacrifice. It's just a wild, crazy game. And you got to play the wild, crazy game.
And the
And so
opportunities stack up when you just get out of your comfort zone.
it does. You got to get out of it. And like, even at 21, I was like, I had friends going back to wait tables and do things. And I was like, no way. No, I'm not going back. No way. I'm waiting, and I'm going to 6 months. I had to get my insurance license. My boss is like, we're not hiring you until you get 10 clients and $10,000 in commissions. And I was like, man, first I failed the personality test. And then when I get clients, you won't even pay me, dude. What's going on here, right? What's happening, man? And then finally, I'm like, when do I get paid? I just got clients. He's like, you got to get 10 clients before you get a paycheck. So here I am, like 6 months in, going home. You know, at 21, this is what you do. I'm sleeping on a mattress in the closet, right? I got my suits on the rack and stuff. But I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I'm not going back to wait tables. So I'm going to live off Uncle Ben's rice that was there from the prior tenants. My brother would bring home stuff from work, you know, if it was buffalo wings and stuff, and I'll eat that. And I was just like, I refuse to go back. And, you know, you always hear those stories about the college kid that, you know, did that and didn't have the money. And then you hear people go, well, I got families and I can't take the risk. But you know what? The college kid who took the risk continues to take the risk later on. You know, right. It's something that you have and you develop, right? So you develop a skill set for risk taking. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's true. Like, you take a risk and you learn from that risk of like, wow, my estimation of effort was a little off on that one. Okay, so the next time I do it, I'll be more intelligent about it. But, you know, back in the life insurance business, there was a guy who used to walk around and all the rookies used to go, hey, like, what do we do to be successful? What do we do to be successful? And the dude just reached into his pocket. He used to carry these stickers around with him, and he pulls it out. And one rookie walks up and he's like, what do I need to be successful? And he takes the sticker and he sticks it on his chest. And on the sticker, it says start. And he goes, just start. And that was the comment. You need to start. And too many times people are like, I got to get this thing in row. I get this thing in row. No, you got to just start, man. Start. And that's the key to actually succeeding in a business. Start with the thing.
Yeah, it's not going to Office Depot and getting the stapler and the Post-it notes and the.
It's not. It's not. Even before we're doing a business plan for Got Dreams, we're doing surveys. We're starting, right? Because we want to know, what does our customer think before we come back. And New York Life, it's funny, I did the same thing. I went and do surveys before they hired me. So you just got to go start and get into action and do something to get the business rolling and going. And same thing with your knowledge and life experience. You're like, I don't know, like, Ted, will people pay me? First thing you need to do is just write down, what are my life skills?
Right.
What would people actually pay me for? And and then you go, what is the value of that? And don't look at it. You look at it on a sheet of paper, because you got to put it outside yourself for a minute, right? And you just got to look at it and go, great. If somebody had this skill set, not me, because you might discount it, right? Somebody had this skill set of sales training. Like, what would that be worth? If you would train somebody on sales, you go, wow, somebody makes a $10,000 sale, and you teach them a system that it's worth $10,000, right? You could totally make a case for that. Or I got this skill on marketing. What would that be worth if I could teach somebody, you know, Facebook, right? Like, what would that be worth? Or what would that be worth if I could teach somebody, you know, how to organize their house better, right? Or would it be worth, like, we have a new client who teaches people how to play the oboe, and her clients pay her for this, right? Like, literally, like, people want to learn music. So you have all kinds of people. And I'd love people to throw in the chat, like, what things you're thinking of, because I can't think of all of them, because some I don't think of.
Look at Debbie. She said, oh, Ted, what are you telling us? The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. Needed this to get back on track with creating canine connections, right?
Canine connections. I love it. Dogs, right? You're doing things with dogs, right? So there's another perfect example.
There are literally people right now who are painting on YouTube and selling private memberships, and all they're doing is painting online. They're making $40,000 a month. Painting online.
Yeah. Painting. So much opportunity today. So you got to know it. And then once you get it, you got to sell it, guys. You got to sell it. You got to learn the sales skills to sell it. You got to get that. And sales is like, you're going to get knocked around. Just get used to it, right? I think it's the best skill set you can get in the world is getting knocked around a whole bunch. Because if you go out and you make the offer and you get knocked around and you get knocked around, and you get knocked around, and you get knocked around, pretty much you wake up one day and you go, nothing can knock me around anymore. Like, I've been knocked around. I've been bruised from this side. I've been spit on from this side of the audience. I've been booed by nobody in the audience because nobody showed up to an audience. Like, there's so many things you could go to be like. I passed out into sweats on stage, literally into sweats. You know, in front of 10 CPAs, I broke out into sweats, took off my jacket, and then I had my blue shirt on, no undershirt, and that was dripping wet. It looked like I jumped in a damn pool. And then the worst mistake a speaker could ever make, I sat down in the front row with the audience. I mean, who does that? The speaker's supposed to be on. I'm sitting in the audience with a soaking wet shirt. Like, you can't make worse mistakes than that. So those mistakes build chops, you know? And to this day, I'll continue to go do things that are outside the box because, outside the box to me is freedom. Inside the box is a trap.
Yep.
So that's it. I think that's what we got for the night, Mike. I got to go to another call.
Yep. So I just want to let people know, if you've enjoyed this, if this is something that you'd like to see us do every single week on Wednesdays, if you need the inspiration, if you want to connect with us every single Wednesday at 7:30, and maybe we'll start doing it more. Who knows? It depends on what you guys think. Just say yes in the chat. Tell us that you're enjoying this. Tell us that you want us to come back here live and answer your questions. We're going to do that for you only. But it's for you. We're not going to do it for us. Ted and I can have these conversations just by ourselves. We'll just have these conversations. If you don't want them, that's fine. But if you want them, type in yes in the message. We'll be back on Wednesdays. Also, if you're somebody, yes, okay, good. I also put in a link in here for those of you, if you're new to Ted McGrath and you want to get started. We've got an excellent training to teach you how to start doing videos online so you can start to get your message out there. You can begin to package it. Yes, Thomas, yes, David, yes, Life Change for All, yes. Okay.
Well, good on the yeses. So I want you guys to do something for us then. I want you guys to tell a whole bunch of people. We'll continue to bring the fire every week and help you. I'm not committing to how many weeks we're going to do this. We'll be here next week. We'll continue to bring the fire, okay? And so bring some people, tell people about it. Tell us your questions, things you want to know. Put those in the chat box, right? And we're going to be here as a community to support you, but bring some people so we can build a great community. I love helping a lot of people. This show is here to help. Michael's got some gifts that we're giving away on free videos and things like that. If you're a client of mine already, you need to be my elite program. Okay? I'm telling you this. You're going to hear this from me every week. And I'm going to tell you need to be in my elite training program. My elite program is amazing. It helps people from soup to nuts. So if you're already a client and you're in Message to Millions or Dream Client, you need to reach out and talk to somebody about elite. We'll actually put in links for that next week if you're already a client. Or you can just reach out to your coach and go, hey, I want to talk about elite. For those of you who are brand new to us, we get some free stuff for you given away. And Mike, what else do we have?
Yep. Again, those are in the chat now. And we're going to send you, if you haven't, even if you just want to be ensured that you get notified, all you got to do is click, if you're in YouTube right now, make sure you click the subscribe button, make sure you click the bell so you know whenever we go live. It's been an absolute pleasure spending the time with you, Ted. It's been an absolute pleasure spending the time with you all. Thank you so much for joining us today. Ted, any final words of wisdom?
We're on Instagram too, right? There's people comment on Instagram.
We can't stream live to Instagram. Instagram doesn't let us. We can't stream live there. We can stream live to Facebook. We can stream live to YouTube and LinkedIn, but we can't go to Instagram.
All right, cool. Well, cool.
Instagram.
All right, guys. Well, just have an awesome week. And, I think the theme of what we're doing here is just believe in yourself. Got dreams is you got dreams. Well, we're here to support you. Whatever it is, right? Whatever you got dreams, we're here to support you. So bring your dreams to the table, no matter what it is. We believe in you, and that's what we're here to do. Come to this community. We believe in your dreams. All right. See you soon, guys.
All right. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.